Our trivia question for the week posed earlier. The Saints scored 23 points in the fourth quarter of Sunday's win over the Texans. What is the Saints franchise record for points scored in one quarter? The answer is 28. They did it against Seattle in 1976 at the Kingdome, where they scored 28, 51 points overall in the game, and then against the Raiders at home Monday Night Football, 1979. Best catch I ever saw, Tony Galbraith, one hand behind the shoulder from Archie Manning. Saints had a 35-14 lead, could not hold it, lost 42-35, and that would have been their first ever winning season, and they held that lead. They did not, and they didn't win until 1987. You know what's a winner? Our hot seat segment. Each and every week we put Mr. Brian Alley Walsh on the hot seat and let him roast and toast a little bit. We skewer him, and he turns around and tries to flash that fire on us. And today we put Brian on the hot seat about the no-huddle offense, about speeding it up offensively, about giving yourself a chance to get more snaps and score points, which was the case for much of the second half against the Texans on Sunday. Mr. Walsh, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before I answer this question, I just want to point out that those two games that we mentioned just moments ago about the 28 points being the franchise record for most in a quarter, there's a commonality about those two games.
Which is?
4K didn't play in either game.
There you go.
He was not the quarterback in either game.
Small didn't play in either one either.
We digress.
All right. Attack.
All right. What I liked about their second half offense performance is that Sean Payton even referred to it in his post-game press conference, guys, where he said he did not like the flow of the game in which he was calling. You know, and it's just like a play caller or a player or anything like that. You like to get in a flow. Sean felt like in order for them to kind of change the tide, kind of speed things up a little bit, keep Houston's defensive packages on the field, was to go to a no-huddle. They've got the packages that they want in. Why not keep Houston off? If you look at the statistics, in the first half, Drew Brees was 8 of 13 for 124. They scored 10 points. Second half, 23 of 31 for 246. Lance Moore had one catch for 14 yards in the first half. 8 of 8. 8 passes thrown in his direction, 8 catches in the second half. All part of this no-huddle offense. When Drew Brees can direct, he's like a maestro. When he can direct and put people in the proper spots and keep that defense on the field, you do a couple things. One, you dictate, you're proactive, and two, you can tire that defense out. And this is what this team did.
And Brian, very good point. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you
well
very
thought
much.
out.
Every now and then.
That said, I think it all depends upon the opponent and the game situation. It worked for the Saints. Sean Payton's a genius, and what he did was brilliant. Drew Brees is a maestro. It goes without saying. At the same time, if you're facing a team like Houston that you can't stop, and you've proven it time after time, you want to keep their offense off the field. How do you do that? By the no-huddle, by rushing to the line of scrimmage, by scoring quickly? I think not.
But Kenny, you know what? You don't have to. Now, no-huddle is you can still milk that clock. All right, you can still milk that play clock. You don't. All you're doing is you're just determining, you're dictating what defensive package they're going to have. So it doesn't mean that you're getting up there and calling a quick snap. You know, you're dictating.
Right. Houston had the ball for 30 minutes and 6 seconds, so they did win time of possession barely.
Right.
That's all good. That's all good. And then, but this is what the Saints offer positive plays. That's their rhythm. Their rhythm comes from positive plays, regardless if they're going no huddle or no huddle. When they're getting positive plays, that's when Drew Brees gets his rhythm. When it doesn't have to be the long pass, it could be a little short 2-yard pass. He's in rhythm. He's getting in rhythm, and that's what gets that offense moving. It's not so much as a no huddle, because I'm with you. I don't want our defense back out there right now. Our defense is not our strong suit. Our strong suit is our offense.
But T, here, all right,
when Ingram's trying to score, I'm sitting there nudging Jude Young, saying, "Go down, go down."
When his point spread's 4, he's bet on the game. The guys get back.
It's always about
that's
betting.
another topic for another day. But I got you.
Let's be
They
honest.
got a lot of fantasy players out there.
Did they go to the no huddle because they were ahead or they were losing? If you're losing, you want to pick the pace up because you got to score points.
Absolutely.
But if you got the lead and you're going to no huddle, now it changes the flow couple of things. Like you said, you don't want Houston to get the ball back because you don't want to go score too quick and then give them time on the ball because your defense is playing bad. There's two ways about a no-huddle offense. The old days, the only no-huddle offense was a 2-minute drill. And now it's being used all the time. Look at these college football teams. Oregon, they line up in a no-huddle and run it all up and down the field and great trying to get 60 to 80 plays or however they want to get. The Saints are trying to score touchdowns, and they couldn't do it the normal way. They couldn't line up there, get in the huddle lineup and run and do. They had to do this because you heard Drew Brees say, we got him tired. Yeah. If that's what it did to get him tired, for you to score, great. But remember something, you're going to get the ball back to him if you score too quick, and you can't stop him. So what's going to happen? Last man gets the ball like in basketball, last shot wins the game. That's what it looks like.
And not only that, sometimes the no-huddle is just to get the offense going. The offense is not moving. We're trying to do something different just to get us going. Once we get going, then we can get back into our regular flow and play the game like it's supposed to be played and move the ball.
Well, I believe that you guys have just played into my argument. Everything I've heard here says that the no-huddle yesterday was the right call in the second half.
It's a right call at that point.
It's not all the time.
Right, at that point.
We agree on that point, but only on that point.
I agree with you. The first half of that football game was a yawner for the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. That had to change something. Some people change, they'll go from the running game to strict pass game. In this case, they went to a no-huddle, picked the pace up, got the defense tired, and you saw it. The Graham pass, the other pass, they're moving down the field. Now, what happens when you play against a team that can come back and score, and then you need to slow it down? Now, can they get out of no huddle and go back to conservative offense and work it down the field? That's the thing about the Saints, and I know they can do that. We all know Sean Payton and Drew Brees are capable of reloading, getting in the huddle, but at spurts and times, you got to do it. They've done this before, Brian. Oh, yeah. This ain't the first time they've done this.
All right, it worked well because the defense finally got a stop or two. That's why it worked well.
Sure,
they finally got a stop or two. Unsung hero, Lee Torrance. He gets a sack on the last series, which puts them in an untenable situation, and then he knocks down the last pass of the game.
Very good word.
Oh, thank you very much. That education really served me well. But obviously, he did a great job. And this is a guy that gets no love. I mean, they basically forget about him all the time. We forget about him and push him into the background. Every time we call upon him, he does a solid job.
He's going to make a play once every couple of weeks. He'll make a play. You'll talk special teams.
Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely.
No, he shows their depth. Tracy Porter's got to get back on the field. Got to improve their depth. If their defense wants to get better, they're going to have to play Casillas more, let him develop as a player. Dunbar, whether it's inside or outside, probably needs an opportunity. Shanley knows what he's doing. Bottom line is they've got to get better at outside linebacker. Vilma hopefully will come back and play inside, but this still remains their Achilles heel, no pun intended.
I really think, and I've said this, I really think this team is going to go as far as its defense. Yeah. I really do. That old cliche, defense wins championships. I mean, even in the 09 season, okay, that wasn't an elite defense. But boy, did they make plays when you had to. And that's what wins games. Yeah.
Well, you look at Detroit Lions. They're winning ball games because not so much they're stopping people, but they're getting turnovers. They're getting the ball back for their offense. If we can get turnovers, if we get the ball back to Drew Brees, that's just more points.
This defense has 2 turnovers this year. 2 turnovers. Yeah. And they had their first interception since the St. Louis game last year.
What is the turnover margin? That is the game.
Right, I know. I agree.
Let me tell you something else I loved about this game yesterday. Sean Payton, you can say anything you want about him. He's a brilliant offensive coach, but I love the fact that this guy is aggressive all the time. John was talking about off camera about a certain game in 1990 he played in to open a season and how close to the vest things were. Sean Payton will never be accused of doing this. He goes for 2 twice in this game. The first time around, you scratch your head saying, you're going for 2 now? What's the benefit here? Well, the second time around, the benefit was obvious to get to a 7-point spread and ensure yourself of no worse than overtime. And, of course, they make it. And, Brian, as you mentioned, basically the same play both times, although they motioned more the second time and created the isolation for him. Kind of reminded you of the Super Bowl 2-point conversion.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing Sean Payton does is he goes to win football games. Yeah. The object is put as many points on the board because you don't know what your defense is going to do. I mean, if you go out there and say, and I hate teams that go out there, well, we got such a great defense, all I need is 17 points, we'll win the game. Not in the NFL, it ain't. You better score as many as you can.
Small's chomping at the bit. We're going to give him a chance when we come back, but when we return in just a moment, we're going to take a look at LSU and Tulane highlights. You got the #1 team in college football in South Louisiana. Plus, we'll have our Prep Player of the Week and our Prep Spotlight team, which is the West Jefferson Buccaneers, as SportsNOLAtv continues from TGI Fridays in Metairie.